Okay, hello. We are here with Giovanna and Simone, and these are two Italian anarchists. We are in San Cristobal de las Casas in Chiapas, Mexico, and these two women just returned from a Zapatista community called San Gregorio, and I'm going to interview the two of them about that experience. But first, I want to get a little bit of background information about who you are, your activism in the past, and that kind of thing. So, Giovanna, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
hmm Thank you for the invitation and hello everybody. Yeah, I'm here in Mexico since 2 years and a half, and I'm traveling with my van. I decided to leave Italy and to live this form of life in the box. So try to build my own form of autonomy in front of the system and the state. So I went here with the intention to get involved in local struggles as ecology and animal rights and also indigenous struggle. So I get in contact with ONG Fraiba, and they used to create this project called RICO, Civil Observation Brigade, and through this project they create these groups of people going to the communities and doing their work, but we are going to talk about it later.
Yeah, okay, so Fraiba is an organization which is actually a Catholic pacifist organization. San Cristobal de las Casas is the birthplace of liberation theology. So that's an interesting dimension of this, that we have indigenous people, Christians and anarchists working together, which is not the case in other parts of the world necessarily. But we'll return to that in a minute. So you signed up with the organization Fraiba to be human rights observers in the community of San Gregorio. Why are human rights observers needed in this area?
Well, this area, it's an area that this group of indigenous people from there liberate in '94 with the insurrection of Zapatismo, and they free those lands owned by those people that was not indigenous, and they.
So they were previously owned by mestizo landowners,
mestizo,
capitalists,
yeah.
Descendants of people that had plantations and that kind of thing?
They took these lands,
Okay.
and now they are working on the fields, but there are other communities there that are interested in own these lands and not to share the lands for autonomy, because these lands are full of natural resources, like water and wood. So people there is really interested to privatization.
Okay.
Privatization is one of the reasons because indigenous people start to fight against this capitalist neoliberal trade with Canada and United States.
Yeah.
So since this moment they are trying to protect the lands for their own survival and for their ecological cosmovision.
Yeah.
So these people now, these invaders that are there, they are taking the lands with also violence. So they are menacing them. They are taking the lands that was like reserves.
That was retaken '94.
They used to.
So there's a confrontation between different people, both of whom have been in the area for a long time. Is that correct? Is it indigenous people on both sides?
Those are all people from Ejido San Gregorio.
Okay.
There is a little village there.
Yeah.
But they are not all Zapatists. So the ones who are Zapatists are only there to create their own autonomy.
Yeah.
So independent piece of land out of the government.
Okay, and so let me see if I understand this correctly. Is that Fraiba helps people who are interested in learning about Zapatismo go into this community where their presence provides somewhat of a shield against potential violence by paramilitary groups. Is that correct?
It's not actually paramilitary groups, because these people nowadays there are not paramilitary groups there. There's other communities interested in the lands, but they are not paramilitaries.
Okay.
Only people they want to sell and privatize the land.
Okay.
And in order to earn money.
Yeah.
And our paper as observer.
Your role.
It's our presence there, our international presence also.
Yeah.
Helps them to communicate they are not alone.
Yeah.
People there is watching us, and we are taking photo and taking video. They feel like I'm comfortable in what they are doing. So this presence there helps to this kind of violence to.
And so, when was the last time that there was violence? When there were shots fired, where there was people killed in this particular conflict?
Likely is not this kind of violence. It's not an armed conflict.
Okay.
It's only a conflict for lands, but these invaders are also destroying things and destroying their organization, occupying also buildings. So and they have a violent attitude. So they menace them.
Threaten.
Oh, they threat them. So they feel vulnerable now, and there's also child and women there. So they feel really vulnerable.
Okay.
I mean, the things like that 2 years ago, there was the moment when in this situation in Nuovo San Gregorio, because here are these things that in every community we're speaking about different things. Where we were, that was in Nuovo San Gregorio, the situation was like different that 2 years ago, 2 years and a half ago, there was this attack from this invader, and in this community they have like in the beginning 155 hectares.
Hectares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Three version.
And now they have like for themselves 3, just 3.
They have 7, but only 3 are useful for food and for.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 2 years and a half ago, there was like a struggle, a fight between them. We don't know if it was, probably it was not with like a fire gun or like fire,
They started
but it was like,
Yeah.
because they are like contadini,
Farmers.
So let me
farmers,
see
yeah.
let me see if I understand this correctly, because there's also, if I understand correctly, San Gregorio is the first Zapatista community to open back up to visitors since COVID. Is that correct?
It's not open to visitors. It's
Okay.
only open to international help.
Observers.
Okay. People that have a specific role.
Yeah.
And this is because there's a need. The community feels that they are threatened by outsiders, and so you told me that they were very grateful to have your presence.
Yeah, of course they feel safer, and they feel that there's somebody outside that know what's happening there, and their human rights are violated. So other people is getting involved in this, but there are other communities there that are Zapatists that are not in this project because it's dangerous to stay there, because it's an armed conflict. But there are other communities. Fraiba only permit people from outside to go there in certain security situations.
Can you tell us what are the specific activities you made there for like keeping safe this space for Zapatistas?
We were there like basically observing, like and creating how you say like a shell of protecting.
You were writing down or
We
something?
were writing down, observing and writing down from the 6 in the morning when they start like the activity. We were watching like in direction where they are the invasion, and taking like write down like who is entering and what time is entering, with who is entering,
In
and
which
it's, like,
field.
in which field, and exactly what they're doing. I think it's like that. Doing this, they were more free to manage their work, because these are the things that without us they are doing the same job. They are observing, because now through this situation is for them is their work is very reduced, because like they don't have land, so they don't have place for work. So it's like everything is it's like that you are in a, how you say, like in the top of the mountain, and it's like, and the invader surround them, and now they are in this little space with like 2 field
Yeah.
with like little animal and like some like field for just mice, mice in
See,
English.
corn.
Garden.
Corn.
Yeah.
Corn. Yeah.
And their activity is very reduced now. For them, for example, is very they introduce more than before, like the activity of artisan
Yeah.
craft, and they are working with like bamboo, and it's like to create like something.
How large is the community of Nuevo San Gregorio?
35 people.
They
They
are
are
like
like
3 or 4
family.
focus. Yeah.
So it's very small.
Yeah, it's really small.
Okay. So what was your life like while you were there?
Yes, as my sister here, it's explaining. We wake up in the morning, and we start to take notes of
Yeah.
the time and everything with them. So share with them also, and those
And so
was-
there is an exchange. So I imagine you spent a lot of time talking with them and learning about their culture and the political struggle and the history of Zapatismo as well.
Yeah, we take the occasion for learn a lot about their form of autonomy. So
Yeah.
during the day, during our things
Work.
there, we was all the time with them. So spending time with women doing
Embroidery.
Embroidery.
or
Embroidery.
embroidery.
Bordado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they create 2 workshops there.
Okay.
One of the wood and bamboo, and the other one with embroidery. So they are all the day doing this kind of art craft for selling, because they was also selling their corn
Yeah.
before the invasion, and now the corn is
As
The
for
price is
them.
very low.
Yeah.
So they're having to diversify how they gain a living.
They had to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Another question that I had for you was just, I know that you're a vegan. So what was it like being vegan in community? How did you explain your reasons for being vegan to traditional Mayan people?
Actually, it's a delicate point, because I'm not only vegan, I'm an anti-spacist. So, but my vision about my political posture, it's in relation with the cultural background of the people I'm with. So I was there for staying for help in their struggle, and it's different to stay in a normal farm
Yeah.
or in a place where there are like 10 chicken
Yeah.
going around and 2 cows,
Yeah.
and they actually are vegan because they are not eating their animals. So for me it was really really
Nice.
easy, because I was imagining
So the
to stay
day-to-day
there, and
diet does not involve meat for
they
them?
usually eat chicken,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they was not, because there are not enough, and their animals are dying because they cannot share food with them too. So their spacism,
Yeah.
if we can
Yeah.
name it like spacism, it's
It's nothing compared to factory farming and the industrial
No,
death
no,
machine of
it's survival.
See.
Survival.
agribusiness.
And also
Yeah.
they have a relation with animals and the land and the trees and everything that is alive, that is completely more anti-spices than going in a vegan shop in Europe and buying
Yeah.
some capitalistic product, you know. So
I'll-
for me it was not so difficult, because
Yeah.
I'm not there to I was not
Preach
there
or-
to explain them how
Yeah.
to be more ecological or anti-spicy. So they are doing a really big struggle for everybody. So
Yeah.
I would like to ask if you can describe what's the relationship with land, with corn, and with with the autonomy they have. No, they have to be autonomous by their food first. No, and what is their relationship with what they grow up from the land?
Also, I think they are really aware of the importance of the land and of the life itself for their survival, but also talking about their cosmovision, that is more
exactly.
ancestral. It's not like something that you learn on the books. they create during their evolution this kind of strong relation with the natural environment, and they are aware of the importance not only of the resources like water or wood or fields, but the life itself. They always speak about trees and birds like brother in the same struggle for. They feel like guardians of nature, and they are actually, because they are their awareness is above the idea of their own survival. They have this awareness.
Like, kind of in a way, they're being autonomous because they are being alive because of the land, no?
Yeah, I think if we can move a critic, it's the same critic we can move in the north part of the world, you know. So talking about ecology, there is this deep ecology concept that puts you in front of the idea of the value of the life itself, not in an anthropocentric view. So I have to defend this land because without this land, I'm going to die like species. Now, this concept is called shallow ecology.
Yeah.
It's built around anthropocentrism, and my critique for them and for everybody of us, it's that we need to build this conscious about deep ecology. So I respect life for life itself. Now
Doesn't
the
exist for our
struggle is not.
purposes.
Yeah, the struggle here nowadays, we are going through this ecological collapse, and the point is, the struggle is the line that divides us is for people that is fighting for life and people fighting for destroying life. And this system, this capitalistic system, it can live only expanding continually his limits on which is alive and wild. So they have this consciousness, but I think their attitude, it's our attitude as humans. We have to work a little bit on it, so to point more into a view-centric point of view.
I absolutely agree with that 100%. One thing that I want to ask is, so people who might consider coming and want to volunteer, could you provide whatever information? Because I think that some people might still be under the impression that you need vaccination, proof of vaccination in order to enter the community, and I learned from you that that's not the case. And then also just what to expect, how you'll be treated, anything that
What you were eating.
I know you want to
stuff like
encourage
that.
people to go because you already told me that. So anything you want to say to somebody that might be thinking about going? Yeah.
I mean, they want like they need like the Freiba is asking like struggling like that. We need people that they're come to do this kind of group that we had.
So they need people.
Yeah,
Important.
They need
absolutely.
people,
They need
more
people to
people.
support because first of all, because they're doing this since 26 years. That for me was very shocking. Like the Brico is working since 26 years, and so they know that this process is working on the community. So it's
Yeah.
like we need people that is continuous. Like because when we left, arrived like another group of five people. So it's like the best will be that all the time there is like this kind of turnover of the new groups.
Yeah.
And the situation, I mean, was quite easy because it's enough to contact the Freiba, and it's like, and the Freiba bring you in, try to organize everything. There is like a small workshop about the situation because it's important that you know exactly what is going on there.
A couple of days of formation.
Yeah, it's like about all
Like
the
training.
history. Training, yeah, it's a training about what is going on from the beginning of the Zapatista, and then like
How many people go? How long?
it's like we were in a group of 3, but it's like the group after us was like of 5 people, so it depends about how many people, and they're going to divide in different groups because they are going to send the people in different community. for us was San Gregorio, that was very small, and the other three girls were in Acteal, that is completely another situation. For example, they are not Zapatistas, but they are supporting the Zapatist community, and there was like the big massacre.
Yeah.
See, massacre. Huh?
And that is completely different.
More people.
Another thing is important is zero alcohol, zero marijuana,
Yeah,
zero hard drugs, correct? So people have to commit to that. Is that accurate?
An important part of their autonomy is also the women of the community did this law and since years, and through because here in Mexico the problem with alcohol and also feminicides and all this kind of violence, it's a result of their relation with alcohol. And
Yeah,
this kind of
feminicides doesn't exist in Zapatista communities, no?
Yeah, they are not feminicides and they're not this kind of violence.
Okay,
So
so
it's really
one
important
thing that I think is really interesting, which I don't necessarily hear people talk about to the extent maybe that should be, is that Zapatismo is simultaneously a reaction against neoliberalism and a revolution against external forces, but it's also an internal kind of cultural revolution as well, so far as it comes to the question of gender and addressing machismo, which exists within indigenous communities, which you could say was a result of colonization, or who knows, really. But could you speak a little bit about that?
actually about this it exists in the community
Or just about the role of Zapatismo in changing the gender relations within.
Yeah, and what's the role of women if they're
Yeah.
getting empowered or
Yeah.
not, or
actually the women there are really empowered and they are conscious of their position.
Yeah.
When they did the revolution with guns and everything, the women was in the
army.
military force.
Yeah.
So they started taking position and going out of their cultural and submitted position that is normal in the indigenous communities, because in other indigenous communities, not in all of them, but it's normal that women have a role, assume their role. So there you can see a jump, literally a jump.
Okay, so at the same time as there is this this empowerment of women, then labor is still along gender lines. Is that correct? Like in terms of who prepares the food and who works in the field, or is that not accurate?
It's interesting. Actually, you divide work also for your physical possibilities. So they say we go all together work in the fields, but maybe if I feel I can do something that necessitates strongness, I do it.
Yeah.
Usually women do things that don't necessitate, but also in the workshop of embroidery.
Embroidery.
There are compass. There
are men too.
Men that is working there. They are working there, and usually the women are cooking and preparing, but also they are cooking. So there is a little diversification of roles.
Yeah.
But it's not so strong and not so limited and
Right.
strict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is very, very linear. These are the things that is like, also before we were speaking about like them and the nature is like everything is in the same line. This is something that is really, really surprising. Also, when you ask something to a person, they say like, okay, we are going to discuss all together. It's like, how is the structure of the community is very interesting. Like how they spread information. There is not a person that is like answering you because it's like his opinion. It's like everything is going to be discussed.
Yeah.
And it's like also the way out they approach to you. It's like, I don't know how to say. It's like they were not looking never also to find a individual relation. It's like they're always speaking about compass. It's like you are my compañero, and it's like, and if I speak with her, it's like the same information. Is like they try to involve all the other co-observer because it's like for them everything is, I don't know how to say. It's like for me the visual image is like this line horizontal with the animal, land, trees, community, and it's like. And maize, for example, that is a part of like the corn is another character in the community, like human character, because it's like
I would like to ask what would be the most surprising thing and of their organization, their type of organization, and also like what was the cultural shock? Like how did you feel about everything, like about their organization, their way of life, their struggle, their like what is like to be there?
Todo is, everything is quite surprised. I mean, I'm coming from Italy, straight from Italy for doing this project. So for this, I was after like coronavirus,
Only to stay on
pandemic,
Mexico.
and it's like to be going directly there is quite like Sturm und Drang is like washing, brainwashing. About this horizontal for me was the most like touch things because it's like I feel really inside a circle of life that is like where the human being is not the first character in the world and it's like and from our point of view we watch and we relate it to something else and was beautiful. The image that I have is like this guy with the machete that they're working like in the field and then they appear to you like doing like no this bordato and this is very beautiful and how everything is completely free. It's like the feeling of freedom and sharing as for me was like a part of the community for me the things of the school that if you can speak before you can speak
I
more. It's
think
like I was the most surprised the concept of like formation inside the community.
See, I think it's one of the things that interests me more because I was talking with them a lot of time about their form of community to learn because it's more than it's like 30 years they are working on their own autonomy. It doesn't mean they know how to do it. They are working on it and transforming the autonomy day by day. So it's really important for us and for everybody that wants to start to build autonomy communities politically with a political posture to learn about how to do it. And for them it's easier in one side because they born there, so they are normally they grow up with the idea of community and not individualism. For us, it's quite difficult to destroy our normal form and then to build another one. So for us, it's really important to learn from them. And the school, for example, is one of their strategy instrument in which they build autonomy because they start with the primary school that is inside the communal space of community, and then the secondary school, like from 10 years to 25 more or less. They used to repeat years without this idea of failure or only you can repeat it because you was
You need more time.
playing all the time, so maybe you had other things. in
What
your
kind
mind.
of topics they teach children?
They teach history, geography, culture, art, and agroecology. So during the day, they wake up, they stay all together for 1 month in the school, and they have their own field for create their own food, and then they come back 2 weeks in the community to share and to work with the community. But when they go out of the community, they are ready for taking part of the autonomy of the other people, the adults. So they used to wake up to eat all together with the food they create there, and then they study, and then in the last part of the day they work in the field. So and they share everything independently of age.
So
obviously the classes are
Kids
divided,
work,
but
no?
kids work, yeah, because they are actually part of the community. Kids work it doesn't mean that 3 years old kids are working, but when they feel they want to help and they can help, they start to help with I don't know, doing
They
simple
kind of
things.
integrate
They are
them in
not-
the society, no?
yeah,
The
it's
production
not
in
an
society.
obligation, exactly, and they don't used to have child for work.
Yeah, no. Well, I kind of think that this idea of child labor has gotten a really bad name from the industrial age, where they had children working in coal
In
mines,
Europe.
and that's the reason that you have such a strong emotional reaction against the concept of child labor. But really, like, it's been a part of every indigenous society ever, probably.
Humans.
Who knows?
It's not child
But,
labor, it's child empowerment.
No.
Because they see child as part of the adult community.
yeah.
No, but then there is a difference because, for example, like during the last days, I was speaking to her because there was the invader in front of us, like in the field, like exactly in front of where we were, and there was like this child, a girl that she has like 8 years old, and she was working from 8 in the morning till 2. On the soil with this, I don't know how you call
This
this
is child labor.
instrument. Yeah, but this
Working
was
hard,
the
yeah.
I don't know,
The
I don't know.
invaders. The
This
invaders.
was the invader.
The invaders.
This is very important because this you see like
The difference.
The father that's like you need to work because we need help. So this is kind in the Zapatist community you never see a guy that is working like because the father is saying it's like if I feel because these are the things everyone wants help. So it's like the child say like can I do this and they say like if you want help yes of course. It's completely it's not like you have to.
It's horizontal.
Yeah, it also this the horizontality I was speaking
Yeah,
before.
I've been really okay. So I've become like more anti-Marxist, more anti-communist in the last little while. But I think that I think there's a collectivism from above and a collectivism from below, right? And what you are describing is more a libertarian collectivism, and where there is an expectation of sharing. I don't know what their conception of property is necessarily. I'm sure that there are things which like they don't share between families,
Yes.
but do you want to speak about this as in relationship to communism or anarchism or these political theories that were which have all these associations which like mean different things to different people and
Yes, of course.
yeah.
As you know, it's Zapatism born with a political theory and basis more linked to communism, Marxism, and Maoism. And for the needs they had to build up a military force. And military force is a authoritarian force. So now in their evolution they take other forms of autonomy, and now their form of create autonomy is more in the communalism.
Yeah.
So we can use words of Marx talking about this form of economic sharing of resources, because there you work dependent of your capacity,
Yeah.
and you have dependently of your necessity.
Yeah, one thing I always agreed with about communism was the expression from each according to their ability, to each according to their need. This seems to me like
Exactly.
a good basis for a society, and like if anything, like the pure essence of communism.
Yeah.
Perhaps
Yeah, but I think we can't call them communists for the way they are organizing
Yeah.
themselves, and also we can't call them anarchists because they have their
Government.
auto government. So
Yeah.
they are in between, and
It's a syncretism. It's the
The
mind way,
syncretism,
They,
the
they bring
syncretism,
together
like-
animism and
like religion, no?
Christianity. They bring together
Yeah.
anarchism and communism and their own
This makes
beliefs
the-
and traditions, and I think that that's what's going to happen naturally in the real world, is that political concepts that are that come from abstract theory are going to collide with reality.
You have to be experimental.
Yeah.
You cannot live create autonomy or this kind of new society only coming from theory and try to apply theory, because each theory it have a different
Way to apply it, so,
yeah,
Way-
of course it depends on a lot of things, and their form of trying to evolve and
Yeah.
to change, for me it's a good point, because
Yeah.
a lot of people coming from communism it's take
Yeah.
position and say no, they are not, or anarchists say they are not anarchists because they have
Okay.
a government,
Yeah.
autonomous
Say-
government. So
Okay.
I think it's not the point. We have to learn and try to apply in other contexts.
Yeah.
Okay, so trying to wrap up everything,
I have one more thing that I want to ask about is just the question of COVID, because the Zapatista communities have been closed basically since March of 2020, and this is not all indigenous communities in Chiapas. In fact, I think that most did not close down. And what I've heard is that it might have been like the influence or the connections that the Zapatistas had with European leftists, which kind of led them to take an extreme position of shutting down the communities. Now they're opening back up again. What is the attitude towards COVID that you experienced in your time visiting?
Actually, 1 year ago, the Brico project was not working for the reason because there they have their form of medicine, they have the health centers, but they are not prepared to fight against this kind of virus. They recognize the virus, but they don't want to be affected because yes, there are people and they was protecting themselves a lot. Now they are opening, but not a lot. It's possible that caracoles are not going to open for visitors anymore. It depends. They are changing something.
Okay.
It's like, sorry, it's like, for example, if you do the workshop with Fraiba, then you for about us, like the brico size, it's like that you have to do a quarantine for 5 days before to go. In this way, you are sure that it's like that. Will be okay. The first week that you are there, you have to stay little like try to be like in a little distance for checking how is going on with like. Then it's like always like in San Gregorio everything is open because it's like you are in the middle of the mountain, so it's was quite easy for us to take up the mask, But in general, it's like Fraba try to protect the situation from for them. It's like and we are preparing for this. They are not asking for a vaccination, but you need to have like a COVID test before to go, and
normal measure of taking care of them. You go there for help, and you
can't drink like
you don't want to cause other problems.
Do you have any last
So,
questions?
no, I would just ask if you got any conclusions, any last thoughts about inviting some other people to come to help out, and also if you wanna talk about a little bit how you can relate this experience with your personal work you're doing, like artistically or whatever.
But personally, talking about invitation we can do, I think that if there's a moment to take action for changing things, to act a revolution is now. And if you want to take part of a struggle that is defending nature and defending our rights as human, it can be there because the reason because they are fighting is it's for
life,
to save a piece of land against capitalism interests. So I think their struggle is our struggle because they are doing not only for them. So the point is we can be there also if we are not indigenous people and we have the privilege to choose and to do this. I think we have like a responsibility of doing this kind of taking part of this kind of struggle, and also if in one side we have to destroy the system, in the other side we have to build up new systems and to learn about and share new forms of autonomy. It's going to be really, really useful in the next years for me. So
it's a real example of an actually functioning society that's been going for
the kind of society we are
many
used
years.
to. I think they are not going to exist in the next
I agree
years.
with you.
So
Okay.
better
it's
to
very
start to
important.
organize ourselves.
and to witness them is very, very important, and then to share like in Europe like this kind of things, because I think it's a possibility. Their vision is a possibility for change, like the world, create like new things, a new sense.
And there are various forms. For example, me and Simona, we are working in the art field, and we use the art as instrument to take part to different struggles. So we use art and not, we try to don't be used from the art system that is obviously capitalistic.
It's another fight. Yeah.
So we are trying to experiment this new form or get involved through art project in social or ecological struggle, using art in a different way, so as instrument for oppressive categories. So we are now developing a new project, but we are working on in the next month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you very much for your time, Giovanna and Simone. And,
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for filming.
Cool. Well, we'll be finished.